Hey everyone, it's been over 2 minutes and I haven't been raped yet. But more surprisingly, I haven't been defrauded of $3 million of Bitcoin. Hi, I'm Diana Davison. I used to start my videos out saying, I'm Diana Davison, a writer for A Voice for Men. That hasn't been the case for over a year, and that's why I don't say it anymore, but at the time, I used to announce my affiliations. That will be relevant to today's topic. So for over a year, I haven't been involved with either A Voice for Men or identified as an MRA. And that is a train that many people want to get on right now, the train leaving AVFM.
I'm incredibly disappointed in the men's rights movement.
So this video came out by Brave the World, or Julia Tourianski, in the last week, and it caused a fair bit of stir. So much of a stir that MRAs and MGTOW, who are not connected, and normally don't get along, kind of united in their hatred of this girl. The reason I brought up affiliations earlier is that over a year ago, Tourianski did a video that was anti-feminist. And she sent me a message on YouTube, which was a little bit snooty. It essentially said, "You need to know who I am." And being the nature that I am, I looked up who she is. And I was really disturbed because she opens her videos, at the beginning anyways, opens her videos by saying,
I'm only a young girl and I know little of the ways of guns.
I'm just a young girl.
I am only a young girl and I know little of happiness.
And when I investigated, I found that she was not just a little girl out of nowhere with some good ideas, or big ideas, that she is actually quite connected to people. And I didn't know exactly who or exactly how because she doesn't announce her affiliations. Now, this is how Julia wants to describe this message back and forth. And keep in mind, she sent me a message. Otherwise, I wouldn't have actually even known who she was.
She's the one with the short red hair.
Yeah.
I had a personal encounter with her. If I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, go for it.
I think it'll be interesting to people. When I first put out my anti-radical feminist videos, she messaged me. And she said, hey, I liked your videos, but you should stop lying and admit that you had other people help you.
Ooh.
And I'm like, that is the most sexist thing I've ever heard from anybody, and you're a woman who also makes videos.
So why did I accuse Julia, not of having other people make her videos, but of being affiliated with people that she wasn't being clear about? Why did I accuse her of that? Well, at the time, I saw that she was a writer for the Mises Institute. And the Mises Institute has some pretty powerful people connected to them. And I also watched an interview with her conducted by Jeff Berwick. We'll get into him in a few moments. And I wondered, how does a little girl who knows nothing about anything end up getting interviewed by people? And why is she connected to the Mises Institute? Well, it turns out, when I looked into it again recently after she did this podcast with her bizarre story of this supposed contact I made with her, it turns out that it goes even deeper than these few suspect connections. Alex Jones says,
Julia Tourianski is our guest, bravetheworld.com, and she's been part of InfoWars reports off and on for about 3 years or so.
Now, at the time Julia sent me this message saying I needed to know who she was, her website, bravetheworld.com, and her channel description on YouTube makes this claim. I am a one-girl operation. Now, Julia's making it sound like I just questioned whether or not she was capable of making her video on her own. No, the word operation is something much bigger than just your YouTube channel, and it's on her website as well. A one-girl operation with connections to billionaires.
So you actually, do you write or edit at the Ludwig van Mises Institute of Canada?
I have, I think, 4 articles that I've written, 3 or 4. It was last year, and I haven't written more. I should.
Redmond, for people who don't know, we'll have all the links below. Redmond Weisenberger, he was on Anarchast. He was one of the first guests on Anarchast, and actually that was the first day I met him. And now we work together at the dollarvigilante.com, and he started up Ludwig van Mises Institute of Canada, which is doing very well from what I can tell. They just brought on Eric Sprotz and a few other people as directors. And so
Yeah,
that's great stuff.
that was my doing, I like to tell him, because I'm the one who met him and took his card and passed it along.
Oh, wow,
it
that's
wasn't,
great.
It wasn't really my doing, but I like to think so.
Well, that's great. You were involved in that because, you know, Eric Sprott, I believe, is a billionaire in Canada. He's a huge precious metals, mostly silver bug.
Yeah, it's an exciting time for our whole little community in Toronto that promotes economic freedoms, and we're more than thrilled to have him on board because he can open up a lot of doors.
So when Julia Tourianski criticizes the men's rights movement, she's not doing it as a young girl who knows nothing about men's rights, although her video kind of makes it sound like that. For a men's rights critique of her video, I'll put a link below to the HoneyBadger response. I don't think they bothered to actually look her up, but they did a pretty thorough response to the content of her video, which I'm not going to do here. So this criticism is not just Julia Tourianski, some young girl who nobody needs to care about. She is connected to InfoWars. She's connected to the Mises Institute. She's not just saying she's disappointed in the men's rights movement. She's saying that lots of bigger groups are disappointed in them. Men's rights, as represented by A Voice for Men, is tanking, and for very good reasons. Now, in the comments of Julia's video, she says that if you doubt her concern for men, just go look at her anti-feminist videos. She describes those quite clearly as anti-radical feminist, and states in the comments that she is not a men's rights advocate. Well, she did submit her video, the one that she messaged me about, she did submit it to A Voice for Men, who I was at the time affiliated with. It's a little bit of a problem when you're submitting your videos to A Voice for Men and then later on claiming that you're not a men's rights advocate. AVFM sometimes goes and gets videos they like and they post them. In this case, it is quite clear, as you can see, that she submitted the video to them herself to get her video on A Voice for Men. So in September, Vice did an article on the men's rights movement in which they explicitly connect Alex Jones to the men's rights movement. Remember this little bit about Julia's connection to InfoWars and Alex Jones?
Julia Tourianski is our guest, bravetheworld.com. And she's been part of InfoWars reports off and on for about 3 years or so.
Well, this is their attempt to make sure that InfoWars and Julia are no longer associated with A Voice for Men who uploads videos like this.
Okay, this is the first AVFM family reunion. Don't suck. Oh my God, there's just thousands of dicks that don't want you to suck it. Okay, so thank you very much. No means no, bitch. No means no, bitch.
So I'm going to finish with two pieces of advice. One of them is for MRAs. And I think there's a lot of good men out there with legitimate concerns, especially regarding the legal system, that this fight needs to be fought, but it can't be done as a gendered war. Putting gender, men's rights into this fight is just getting in your way. AVFM is actually hurting the issues of men's rights. And I won't get into how it is that I know that they're not actually doing any activism in this video, but I want these men to understand that there is no cause for despair. There are serious academics who are addressing the problems of due process and the problems of the assumption of innocence in a fair trial. These things are being dealt with properly by other people, like Spiked Online. And I can show you a bunch of articles that they have done to convince you that AVFM could completely die and it would be okay because the issues they pretend to be fighting are being dealt with better by Spiked and academics. The second piece of advice is for Julia. Now, Julia, I understand why you want to disassociate from A Voice for Men and the men's rights, but I think you've got more important battles. You were interviewed by Jeff Berwick, and you've been associated with Jeff Berwick, and you claim to care about Bitcoin and anarchy. Well, maybe you should be doing a video confronting the problems that your friend is bringing to those two communities. Jeff Berwick being accused of fraud. And what did you have to say about it in the comments of one of your articles? Well, you can't say much about that. Maybe because you're too busy worrying about men's rights. Why don't you focus on your own community and deal with that stuff? I think it's a little more important. And also, you should start announcing your affiliations.
I'm only a young girl. I am only a young girl, and I know little of happiness.
And now for the rape joke of the week. As it turns out, Jeff Berwick is also under investigation for his wife and him filing false rape charges in Argentina. Yeah, I know, it's not a joke, but it is kind of funny.